Mike again here in the Squatch. Wearing this stupid shirt again. I live in this shirt. So I got this problem. My water, it quit. Hot water. I don't have any cold water though. Pumps on. Obviously, I have hot water. Okay, pumps there. But I don't have any. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Got this nifty little foot switch down here. So I went with an electric solenoid valve for my cold water side. Where's my flashlight at? It's my light. There it is. So, get a good shot of it there. The brass solenoid valve. It's cheap Chinese solenoid valve. I almost wish I would. If you're going to do this, spend the money and get an ASCO valve. I'm not real thrilled with them. One thing I discovered, they're half-inch threaded NPT, but much like these Italian water meters that I bought, my light. They're not tapered. So the half-inch male push fit fitting just threads right down and seats in the bottom. And there's not much of a seat in the bottom to put a flat washer, a rubber seal. I put O-rings in it and was just careful about how I tighten it down. And initially I had a leak and had to do it again. And it's not ideal. Just spend the money and get a good valve. Or for $5-6 you can get plastic valves. I went with brass because I thought it would last longer and be easier to clean and change parts and stuff. But you can buy cheap plastic solenoid valves. 12-volt DC. I spliced it into some wiring that feeds the gas detector and the water heater, I think. It's fused, small fuse. The coil itself, I think it's rated about 2 watts. So it's like, what, 1/6 of an amp at 12-volt DC. The valve itself, or excuse me, the switch itself is it's a limit switch. Or a lid switch. High voltage electrical equipment might have this thing set up to be normally closed in this position here, and with a lid, an electrical access lid down on it, and then if you were to take the lid off, it would de-energize the system, keeping you from getting fried. There's a spider. So anyway, I went ahead and I chose this because you could just mash it down with your foot in just about any position. You don't have to look for it. You're not really going to stub your toe on it. You might accidentally hit it just doing something else. But I went ahead and just did the cold side. I still have hot water normally, because if you're like me and you need hot water, you need a good bit of hot water. You need to fill a pot. You need to fill the sink to do some dishes. But cold water, you're just rinsing something off. Turn the water off. That's one feature of it. I'm just going to leave the cold water on most of the time because that's normally what I'm using is cold water. So now for one thing, you only need one hand. Whenever you're rinsing things off, you can kind of coordinate between your feet and your hands and use less water. And that's less times that you have to grab a hold of the handle and dirty it and get it wet. And yeah, it's about water conservation. So I did the bathroom as well. Now, the funny thing about this is, if you can hear it, you'll notice that after I release the switch, there's still some water passing through. And I don't know why. They're supposed to be the same valve, but the bodies were constructed slightly different, a little bit different. Where's my power? There we go. Turn that fan off. So, yeah, the bodies were slightly different, and I'm not exactly sure why one releases closes quicker than the other. One of the things I could do is swap the coils, try to swap some of the guts in the valve body to see if it ends up working out the same. But right now I'm just happy that I have it installed. I don't know if you can see it in there, but that one just went in line, just like the one in the sink. That's just screwed to the wall inside of the cabinet. Easy peasy. So, yeah, actually there's one thing I just had an idea this outlet here is wired into it, and there's some kind of a there's 12-volt supply to this, not only to this 12-volt outlet, but here to the cable. I think it's some kind of a booster or something. So there might be a capacitor or something in there that is keeping that from sucking back in. One idea is, you know, maybe if that's not the issue, I could put a resistor or something in parallel to the coil, and that might cause it to release quicker, or take the valve body apart and pull the spring out and maybe stretch it out a little bit, give it a little bit more compression. Yeah, so the whole thing probably cost me $55 or something, but I already had the switches from a few years back. The wiring was just a bunch of household extension cord plugs, you know, 6-foot sections that I just threw in a box in case I ever needed them. Plenty heavy for this application. Inline fuses I bought at the auto parts store, little inline fuse holder, and some fuses. And yeah, you could set something like this up for you know, fairly cheap. Buy the plastic valves. You could go to Radio Shack, buy some kind of foot valve, I'd imagine, or buy one online, or get creative and buy a small momentary switch and rig something up to it, or rig some kind of a little spring or something to it. I personally like that right now. Yeah, and there's a manufacturer that builds a system like this for your kitchen sink. It has a rubber mat that you stand on. It's about a foot wide or so. It has a embossed switch, embossed hot, H, C, W for warm. A lock button probably just keeps the water on all the time. It's a couple $100. It has a control box. Probably relatively easy to install, but it's a lot of stuff that can break, especially in that control box. You know, those foot switches might last forever. Might last 2 years, and then you got to buy another one. So I like this. It was easy for me to do. Doesn't take much effort. I've seen 1 or 2 other people that have done something like this online. Thought it was my idea, but you know, now that works. You think you have a good idea, and then you look and somebody else has already done it. So, but anyway, I think it's going to work pretty well for me, and I think it'll work well for you. Try it out. Have any questions, or you know, need any advice or something like that, shoot me an email, but it's pretty straightforward. So yeah, so that's foot pedal switches here in the 99 Bigfoot. Have a good day.